It was 2:17 when I finally admitted it to myself. The kind of hour when the world feels suspended between yesterday's failures and tomorrow's uncertainties. I was sitting on the floor of our apartment, at least for another week, surrounded by half-packed boxes. A single lamp cast long, jagged shadows across the room, like broken pieces of a life I no longer recognized. The silence was deafening. No background chatter from the TV. No soft hum of her voice as she talked to her sister on the phone. Just the ticking of the kitchen clock, each second a hammer blow to my chest. I picked up a photo from the floor. Us at the beach last summer. Her laughing, sun-streaked hair flying, my arm around her waist. Both of us squinting into the camera with that stupid, blissful grin people get when they think they've cracked the code of happiness. I traced the edge of the frame with my thumb. When did we lose it? The truth was, we'd been losing it for months, maybe years. We just didn't want to admit it. It started with small things. The way she'd scroll through her phone during dinner. The way I'd stay late at the office. Not because I had work, but because the quiet of my desk felt safer than the quiet of our home. The conversations that ended not with resolution, but with a tired, let's just drop it. And then came the fight. The one that cracked everything open. Not loud, not dramatic, just final. I don't feel it anymore, she said. Her voice was calm, almost detached, like she was delivering news she'd rehearsed in her head 100 times. I think we're just a people who love the idea of us more than the reality. I wanted to scream, to grab her and say, fix this, make it better. Tell me what I did wrong and it'll change. But the words wouldn't come, because somewhere deep down, I knew she was right. The days after were a blur. I moved into a friend's spare room, slept on a mattress on the floor, woke up to the smell of someone else's coffee, the sound of someone else's life unfolding around me. It felt like being a ghost, present, but not really here. At first, I tried to numb it. Late-night binges of junk food, endless YouTube videos. The kind of mindless scrolling that leaves you empty, but too tired to stop. I told myself I was fine when co-workers asked. I forced a smile when friends checked in. But alone, in the dark, the truth would surface. I was lost. Not just without her, without me. Because here's what no one tells you about breakups. They don't just take away the person. They take away the version of yourself you've built around them. The jokes you only shared. The routines that felt like home, the future you'd mapped out together. Without those, who the hell was I? One morning, 3 weeks in, I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Stubble, hollow eyes, shoulders slumped like I was carrying the weight of a collapsed building. I barely recognized the guy staring back, and for the first time, I asked the question that changed everything. What if this isn't the end but the beginning? It wasn't an epiphany. Not some Hollywood moment of clarity, just a tiny crack of light in the darkness. But I held onto it. I started with small rebellions against my own misery. Making my bed every morning, even when I didn't want to get up. Cooking one real meal a day. Not takeout, not cereal, but something that required focus. Going for walks without my phone. Forcing myself to notice the world around me. Slowly, I began to reclaim pieces of myself I'd forgotten. I dug out my old guitar, dusty, slightly out of tune, and strummed chords that sounded like garbage at first. But after a week, a melody emerged. Not great, but mine. I reconnected with my brother, whom I'd neglected for months. We met for coffee, and for the first time in years, I listened, really listened, as he talked about his struggles with fatherhood. His honesty cracked something open in me. Maybe vulnerability isn't weakness, I thought. Maybe it's the only way back to ourselves. Then came the journaling. Not the Dear Diary kind, but the raw, ugly kind. Pages filled with scrawled words like, I'm angry. I miss her. I don't know how to be alone. What if I'm unlovable? And one day. A line that stopped me cold. Maybe the problem wasn't her. Maybe it was me. That's when the real work began. I started asking hard questions. Where had I stopped prioritizing my own needs? Why had I stayed in a dying relationship out of fear, not love? What parts of myself had I sacrificed to keep the peace? And most importantly, what did I actually want, independent of anyone else? The answers weren't easy. Some nights, I'd lie awake, wrestling with shame. I should have fought harder. I should have been better. I should have seen the signs. But then I'd remember. Regret is a trap. It keeps you looking backward when your life is happening right now. So I made a rule. No more should-haves. Only what's next. I threw myself into new experiences. A weekend hiking trip with old friends. The kind where we laughed until our ribs hurt. A writing class where I poured my mess onto paper and realized words could be medicine. Volunteering at a local shelter where I met people whose struggles made my heartache feel small in the best way. Each step felt like relearning how to walk. Some days, I stumbled. Some days, the grief would ambush me. A song on the radio, a scent in the air, a stray memory that left me gasping for air. But I stopped running from it. Instead, I'd sit with the pain, let it move through me, and remind myself, this is not permanent. Here's what I've learned. Heartbreak isn't a punishment. It's a purge. It strips you down to your bones so you can rebuild with intention. And slowly, something shifted. I started waking up earlier. Not out of obligation, but out of curiosity. What could today hold? I rediscovered old passions, painting, running, the joy of a well-made cup of coffee. I relearned how to enjoy solitude, not as a punishment, but as a gift. One evening, 6 months in, I sat on my balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in colors I'd forgotten existed. For the first time in years, I felt calm, not happy, not sad, just present. That's when I realized I wasn't waiting for her to come back. I wasn't waiting for the pain to disappear. I was learning to live with both, the love I'd lost and the life I was building. Today, I can look back at that broken man on the floor surrounded by boxes and say thank you. Thank you for feeling everything. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for daring to believe that the end of one story could be the beginning of a better one. If you're listening to this now, and you're in that dark place, I want you to know, you're not broken. You're being remade. This pain isn't the end of you. It's the raw material from which your next self will emerge. So breathe. Just breathe. One day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. And on that day, you'll be grateful you didn't give up.